Hi, welcome to Listen2Riches. Today, I will explain to you the book Living the 80-20 Way by Richard Koch. Before we start, do not forget to subscribe and like our channel and share it with your friends. In this way, we will be able to continue to bring you more valuable content and let more people benefit from this valuable book. I wish you all a pleasant listening time. Discover the path to happiness and success through the 80-20 lifestyle, which emphasizes achieving more by doing less. If the usual routine of waking up, working all day, and repeating feels monotonous, you're not alone. Many of us yearn for more than just a daily grind. According to Koch, a different approach is needed. Rather than living to work, we should work to live. Often, we exhaust ourselves at work, leaving little energy for our loved ones afterwards. This is where the 80-20 principle offers a solution. The idea is simple. Around 80% of outcomes come from about 20% of efforts. For instance, the wealthiest 20% of individuals generate 80% of the world's wealth. While this concept is commonly used in business, it's now applicable to everyone's life. In essence, by focusing on the right efforts, we can accomplish more with less stress. As you delve into these pages, you'll uncover how to identify your sources of happiness, adopt money-saving habits from the affluent, and understand why a straightforward life might be the key to achieving your goals. Imagine a scenario where you work only 2 days per week, yet achieve better outcomes and higher pay compared to a full work week. Think about discovering a straightforward solution that addresses your challenges, leading you towards a way of earning, succeeding, and even feeling content and happy. It might all seem too amazing, but it's not unrealistic. What if I told you that by embracing the 80-20 way, you could revolutionize your life? With the 80-20 approach, you'll witness genuine positive changes by doing less. Originally designed for business professionals, the 80-20 principle has now evolved into the 80-20 way, suitable for anyone who seeks transformation. You don't need to hold a high-ranking corporate position to comprehend or implement the 80-20 way into your life. In his latest book, Koch demonstrates how the philosophy of less is more and more is less can be integrated into your personal journey, work, success, finances, relationships, and pursuit of a simple, fulfilling life. Moreover, he provides guidance to create a personalized action plan for a life-altering transformation. Let us delve into the first part, the theory of achieve more by working less. When we reflect on the progress of society, it's clear that advancement often involves achieving more with less effort. Let's go back around 8,000 years when humans transitioned from hunting and gathering to farming and raising animals. This agricultural shift led to machinery innovations that greatly increased our productivity. In the past, almost everyone worked on the land. Today, only a small percentage of people in developed nations are farmers. Yet we produce far more food. This illustrates the concept of accomplishing more with less. Similarly, just 4 decades ago, computers were bulky and expensive to manufacture. Today, computers are faster, smaller, and more affordable. We're achieving greater outcomes using fewer resources. This embodies the 80-20 principle. However, we often neglect to apply this principle in our personal and social lives. Instead, we tend to overemphasize our careers, leaving little time and energy for friends, family, and enjoyable activities. So, how can we bring the 80-20 principle into our daily routines? Start by taking a moment to ponder, how can I achieve more with less effort in this project? What key aspects could I concentrate on that would yield the majority of the benefits? This is where your time management skills come into play, unlocking the potential of the 80-20 principle. Once you realize that too little time is a misconception, you can organize yourself for optimal productivity. During those moments of peak focus, you can complete tasks in just a few hours that might have taken much longer before. Imagine you're self-employed and allocate only 2 days for a project that would usually occupy a whole week. When given a full week, you might engage in procrastination and focus on tasks that don't contribute much. By dedicating just 2 days to your most valuable task each week, you could potentially achieve 160% of the results that used to take 5 days, leaving you with 3 extra days to pursue your preferences. This encapsulates the power of the 80-20 principle in action. When we delve into the 80-20 principle, there are 3 straightforward steps that can lead to significant improvements in your life. Imagine planning a vacation. You need to pick a destination first. Likewise, with the 80-20 principle, your initial step involves choosing where you want it to guide you. This destination should reflect your genuine interests, so begin by contemplating the aspect of your life that truly matters to you. To observe this concept in real life, let's consider Steve, a restaurant owner in Cape Town, South Africa. Eager to adopt an 80-20 lifestyle, Steve started by pinpointing the personal and professional spheres he wished to concentrate on. His priorities included launching a business, excelling in hospitality, and nurturing his passions for rock music and teaching. Steve's destinations were clear in his mind, leading him to the subsequent step, determining the optimal route to reach them. Initially, selecting a route might appear overwhelming, given the numerous paths leading to a single destination. Thus, it's vital to identify the path that promises the swiftest and most enjoyable journey, following a guideline provided by Koch. The most advantageous 80-20 route tends to be the one that brings the most enjoyment and least stress. For instance, if your destination involves triumphing as a salesperson, you could adopt various routes to achieve this objective. Options encompass enrolling in classes, finding a mentor, starting at an entry-level position, and more. Your task, however, is to uncover the route yielding optimal outcomes. If traditional schooling isn't your forte, skip that route and opt for mentorship instead. The concluding step involves taking decisive 80-20 action. Once you've chosen a destination and charted a suitable route, it's time to commence your journey. Make the most of each opportunity, as action is the catalyst for transformative change in your life. Koch offers this counsel: identify the route that reshapes your life, allowing you to attain more favorable outcomes with reduced concern and effort. Then, take action and remain receptive to the positive fortune that the universe may bestow upon you. As you discover and harness your authentic qualities, enabling them to function harmoniously and effortlessly, you'll emerge as a distinct, immensely valuable individual, and yes, remarkably content as well. When we ponder about life, our thoughts often turn to the idea of time. We dislike squandering it, we always seem to lack enough of it, and most crucially, once it's gone, we can't retrieve it. To make matters more puzzling, why does time seem to zoom by when we're enjoying ourselves, but slow to a crawl when we're uninterested or working? But consider this: what if we could switch these perceptions? By making the good times longer and the bad times shorter, we can transform our lives. So, how do we go about this? Let's delve into the idea of discovering your happiness islands. These islands represent the brief periods when we feel our happiest. Recall the last time you experienced genuine happiness, and also think about similar moments from your past. What links these instances? Were you with a specific person, in a particular place, or engaged in a particular activity? Identify the common threads. Then, it's time to contemplate how you can expand the time you spend on these happiness islands. If, for instance, your happy moments constitute about 20% of your time, how can you boost that to 40, 60, or even 80%? If 80% of your time results in only 20% of your happiness, which activities could you trim to create more room for things that truly bring you joy? Numerous activities we engage in don't actually contribute to our happiness. For instance, studies show that very few people feel happy after hours of watching television. In reality, they often feel a bit down. If watching TV does make you happy, then continue. If not, consider cutting back. Next, pinpoint your achievement islands. These are the moments when your creativity and productivity peak. Recall times in the past week when you were most productive, achieved a lot in a short span, and added value to yourself or others. Maybe certain activities, people, times, or places trigger this state in you. Once you've recognized these islands, you can focus on intertwining happiness and productivity. For instance, take the case of Richard Adams, a government worker in the UK. He discovered that his happiest moments were when he told stories to his daughters. Consequently, he started jotting down these tales during his free time. Over time, These stories transformed into best-selling books, all because he chose to channel his time toward his happiness and achievement islands. Ultimately, everyone has the same hours in a day. The key is to utilize them smartly and maximize productivity and happiness. The author also talks about the 80-20 principle for money, relationships, and simple life. Let us start with the money part. When money comes into play, it's intriguing that 20% of the world's people own a whopping 80% of the world's money. Wonder why? Well, it's all thanks to the amazing concept of compound interest. Even the renowned Albert Einstein recognized its might, labeling it the greatest force in the world. The wealthiest individuals employ the 80-20 principle to build their fortunes. They invest their money and let compound interest work its wonders. Surprisingly, even a small sum can lead to astonishing returns. In today's world, the pursuit of money has become a bit of a trap. We often become so caught up in earning money that we forget to pause and savor the rewards of our hard work. That's why it's time to borrow a page from the playbook of the affluent and discover how to apply the 80-20 principle to your finances. Let's start with your money destination. Now's the time to be specific, instead of simply aiming to be free of money worries. Define precisely what that entails. Does it mean having enough for 6 months, a year, or longer? Are you eyeing your dream home or striving to become a millionaire? Your financial destination is your call. Following that, you need to chart your financial route. More than likely, your route involves saving and investing. Naturally, if you plan to invest, you need to have a tidy sum in your savings first. Some might find saving a daunting task, but it's absolutely achievable. Think about setting aside 10% of your income in a savings account before you even consider spending it. And remember, the sooner you begin, the more time compound interest has to perform its enchantment. Consider the story of Steve and Helen as an illustration. They utilized the 80-20 principle to acquire a $60,000 apartment. Together, their yearly earnings amounted to $78,000, and they were living paycheck to paycheck, seemingly unable to save money. Yet, they wisely directed 10% of each paycheck into a savings account. By setting a clear destination, identifying a viable route, and taking action, Steve and Helen achieved their objective. After 6 years, they amassed $66,000. Not only did they purchase the apartment, but they also managed to address some needed repairs. Now, let's talk about relationships. Reflect on the relationships in your life. Which ones are flourishing? And more importantly, how could they become even better? In today's modern era, creating robust relationships has become increasingly challenging. Our busy lives often prevent us from dedicating the time and effort needed for relationships to thrive. Even within families, activities that used to be integral parts of family bonds are being outsourced. Babysitters are becoming more common. Takeout meals replace cooking, maids handle cleaning duties, and elderly parents sometimes end up in care homes. Luckily, the 80-20 principle can lend a hand in personal relationships as well. Turns out, a mere 20% or fewer of our relationships generate a striking 80% of our relationship satisfaction. In simpler terms, fewer than 20% of your friends contribute to 80% of the meaning and value you gain from friendships. This underscores the need to focus on those select relationships that hold significance, particularly the ones with romantic partners. Actually, research highlights romantic relationships as the most crucial connections in our lives. A study indicated that those in romantic relationships ranked highest in happiness. While 40% of married Americans claim extreme happiness, only 23% of unmarried Americans report the same. However, being married doesn't automatically guarantee happiness. What truly matters is having a strong relationship that nurtures and supports your happiness. This is where defining your 80-20 destination becomes crucial. What do you desire from your personal relationships? What values hold importance for you? Once you've pinpointed your destination, you can collaborate with your partner to devise a route that suits both of you. When choosing your route, think about how you can enhance your relationship with less time and effort. For instance, consider Steve's experience with Helen. When they met, Steve aimed to bring happiness to Helen and realized that her contentment centered on him being punctual and providing support. And of course, she cherished surprises. By focusing on these roots, Steve identified 3 essential actions he could take to make Helen happy. Hence, it's vital to sit down with your partner and establish open communication about effective ways to construct a strong foundation for your relationship. And lastly, your simple life. In our contemporary world, our perception of happiness has become somewhat skewed. Many believe that accumulating wealth is the key to obtaining the things they think will bring them happiness. Advertisements, for instance, encourage people to stay engrossed in work to fuel their continuous pursuit of new and improved products. To break free from this pattern of thought, take a moment to pause and reflect. What is genuinely essential to make you happy? It's likely much simpler than you imagine. Consider this. The ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus asserted that the fundamental elements of a good life are basic necessities: food, shelter, clothing, friends, freedom, and contemplation. That's all. Essentially, less is more, echoing the essence of the 80-20 principle. Epicurus put this philosophy into practice by leading a life of simplicity, residing in a commune with 7 companions. They depended on the land for sustenance, and avoided amassing wealth for the sake of material possessions. Instead, they devoted their time to writing and sharing ideas. Maybe it's time to integrate Epicurus' philosophy into your own life. Once again, direct your focus towards your 80-20 destination and reflect on what a simple and fulfilling life means to you. Start by outlining your vision of an ideal life. Consider the items you possess that genuinely bring you joy. What do you truly need? How frequently do you utilize your current possessions? Why are you exerting significant effort to accumulate more things that you won't have the opportunity to use? Then, discover your roots. Explore alternatives that are both simpler and more rewarding. Weed out elements in your life that induce stress and contribute little value. Think about ways to declutter your life or find happiness in uncomplicated pleasures. Finally, it's time for action. Choose 3 immediate steps you can take to progress toward your desired destination and ideal life. Consider the story of a successful advertising account executive. Although her job paid well, she perpetually felt drained and stressed. Tired of this dissatisfaction, and resigned from her job and moved from a sprawling apartment to a modest studio. Despite her parents' reservations about her decision to leave her stable, well-paying job for a life of painting, and disregarded the naysayers and pursued her passion. Over time, she began selling her paintings for a good income. Ultimately, and knew where she wanted to be and took the necessary strides to reach that point. She embraced a simpler lifestyle and ultimately discovered both happiness and success. In conclusion, the 80-20 principle explains that 80% of what we desire originates from just 20% of our actions. Regrettably, many of us believe the opposite to be true. We tend to think that if we work hard enough, happiness will eventually come our way. Yet, happiness should not hinge on the money we possess or the things we acquire. Instead, true happiness arises from investing our time in activities that bring us joy. To authentically discover happiness, we can adopt the 3 steps of the 80-20 principle. Define a destination, identify the optimal routes, and take action. These steps are applicable across various aspects of our lives, encompassing our finances and personal relationships. As you devise a plan and begin implementing the 80-20 principle, you'll soon witness both accomplishment and happiness emerging naturally through simplified actions. Congratulations on finishing another book. If you like to check out other book summaries, please subscribe to Listen2Riches. Also like and share this valuable knowledge with your friends. Let us combine wisdom with practice to achieve our financial goals and create a better future. Thank you and see you in my next audiobook.